video was inspired by Cartier Ed, as in regards to his newly acquired Vornado box fan. Contrary to the title, this is not a Vornado fan. It's a Utilitech Pro. Its blade design, airflow, in my opinion, definitely, takes on a Vornado, Model 80, box fan. The blades on this fan are a bit similar to what you would see on the new Vornado in circulation. And initially, normally, one would think that a blade design like this, these really skinny curved blades, would actually be a plastic blade. But nope, they are not plastic. They are sheet metal. You may think that this may be a plastic blade set, but let's get up closer. If you can see down there, you got rivets with it has a silver colored blade bracket. Maybe see the small blade brackets down there, but this is actually a sheet metal fan composed of blade brackets and rivets. The irony is this thing has a nice, strong shroud to it. Nice strong grill, but very, in a sense, inferior blades. It's okay. It's an okay fan. Not only does this fan take after maybe a Vornado box fan, but the blade set looks like the enlarged version of one of them battery-powered O2 cool camping fan. That runs on 8D batteries, I think. I mean, them camping fans have really skinny blades, and this is kind of like an enlarged blade of an O2 cool fan, except for, the sheet metal and rivets. I had a fan just like this hanging on my porch years ago, but it sat for a while. And it had a lot of bird shit on the back grill. And these fans are so loud you can't really hear the ambient environment or the fan itself. So when it had bird shit all over it, I took it down and I left the fan to my curbside. And I think my neighbors down the road actually, picked up, the fan. Here at the back of the fan, you got a big old plastic housing. You got your power knob, speed adjustments. The fan also has internal oscillation. That toggle switch controls the, oscillation. I picked up a few of these fans in 2013. This other, a 3-bladed fan with much, thicker ones was also sold with, the Utilitech Pro in 2013. Other than the badge, these 20-inch models have basically stayed frozen in time, blade sets and all. Back then they were about $40 or around 70 something now. Utilitech made this fan for about a season. And I think in the Lowe's store, my local Lowe's store in the garden center, they had like a bunch of these, 5-bladed ones hanging in the, garden department. A few years later, they replaced them with the newer 3-bladed models. I guess maybe they didn't hold up or something. This fan wasn't produced for very long. Although for a while Max Air did, copy, this fan. I think a year or two later, Utilitech, ended up going with the 3, thicker blades, and that this 5-bladed model was discontinued after, Utilitech went back to, the 3-bladed design with these internal oscillators. I think maybe Utilitech got some sense knocked into them and probably, manifested that, 3 thicker blades are probably a better design. This fan is a bit similar to the Hyper Tough high velocity fan that, Walmart, currently sells. There is a variation between, this Utilitech and Walmart's current, Hyper Tough. That is, the blades of Walmart's Hyper Tough has, bit thicker blades to this, better arch to the blades, and also the Hyper Tough has more pitch to them blades. And the Hyper Tough, I've been able to experience airflow to one of those one day when Walmart had one going in the aisle. It's rated at, 7,000 CFM, and the Hyper Tough feels like it puts out just that. The Hyper Tough is very loud, but it is extremely powerful. Now, getting down to the pinnacle of the video after digressing, gonna go ahead and depict how I think this resembles the Vornado box fan. First of all, what I just described, skinny ass blades. And the Vornado blades are plastic blades and not sheet metal, but, still a similar, blades. And also, I think the performance is very similar. 5 skinny blades that have to spin at very high RPM to put out maybe 3,500 CFM on high. The box to this fan said 4,000 CFM. Not sure if that's accurate, but what I have here might be up close to the airflow of what you would get with a new Vornado. One thing that the Vornado has, unlike this fan, is it has 4 speeds. And the Vornado fan, you can either adjust it to spin at a much, slower speed to where it's maybe pleasant for maybe a bedroom. And also you got on the 4-speed spins at very high RPM, putting out a lot severe. I don't think the Vornado box fan is great. I think it's decent. It's probably one of the best contemporary box fans that they sell today. If you watch Cartier Ed's videos, he also explains that the Vornado box fan is powerful, but it has more focused airflow. Doesn't blow the air out to the sides like, his vintage fans. And I think that's the case with this fan too. This is not a box fan unless you want to call it a rounded box fan. But it is a Utilitech, but in a sense it has Vornado box fan written all over it. Let me exemplify. Okay, let's start this bad boy up on low. Yep, focus airflow just like the Vornado. Can't feel any air from here, but have to stand right in front to feel. As usual, you can see some drifting in the curtains. Let's go up to medium. If you notice, so far both low and medium, relatively high RPM. Blades are so skinny, that's what it has to do to get the air out. Vornado box fan, focused airflow. This fan blade may even be the same diameter to a Vornado. Maybe the Vornado just might be a slightly smaller. I don't have a Vornado box fan to compare this to, have no desire to purchase. Now the ultimate. This fan is very noisy on high. Very high RPM once again to move the decent amount of air it's pushing. You can even see more play in the curtains. Can kind of see the spinning blades swaying back and forth. Spin down. Which doesn't have much of a spin count down them lightweight blades. And I decided to make a brief cameo of what I would consider, in a sense, a better, Utilitech. I can definitely, feel a stronger breeze on this other Utilitech. Significantly more than the Pro. Okay, medium. High. This Utilitech, well, it doesn't have a shroud around it. It also doesn't have oscillation, but in my opinion, you get way more airflow. I think the Utilitech may be somewhere over 5,000 CFM, and Here, look at how my curtains are drifting. Tell you all, the Utilitech ain't no blue-weighted patent. It's a bit on the cheap side, but turns out it's really not as bad as what I thought it would be. And I think it might even be a bit quieter. The Utilitech blows more air with, you know, a more pleasant sound in my opinion. So in a certain aspect, you know, this fan is a winner. This fan, I would say it does have some uniqueness. I like how the blades take on something like an enlarged O2 Cool blade, and also the cute little rivets with the blade brackets. Well built, except for the blade, and it has some uniqueness, but all in all, I'm not really all that impressed. Has to, you know, make more noise, spin at very high RPM. Lately, what I've been doing is I've been working out in my shed, and the weather conditions today is adverse, putting down a little bit of snow. And I made the decision, what I've already done and what I'm continuing to do is I'm donating, you know, some of my fans to coordinated charities and Goodwill. I'm gonna go ahead and keep the fans that, you know, I feel play a good role in my life, and my fans that I consider inferior, I'm like, you know, donating them to coordinated charities. And I was gonna maybe hang on to this fan a while more. It is a bit peculiar, but I have a mind to donate this Utilitech along with the others that I'm giving away. This other Utilitech fan, I'm keeping it. I'll own it for the rest of its life. Same goes with a good housekeeping pedestal fan, but this fan may eventually be hauled off. So anybody that knows me is watching this video and wants a fan, then this one very well could be yours. Have a good day. I might add that, thought about, you know, donating some of my fans to fan collectors, you know, on YouTube and whatnot, but I don't want to fool with, you know, the high, you know, shipping costs. So I just been simply like, you know, donating what I don't want to keep.